Right. Obviously, the big news that everyone's been talking about now.
Hmm. Hmm.
What did you think of IDubbz content cop on H3H3?
I didn't see it because, frankly, Paul, and I'm curious what your sort of thoughts on this are, as someone that is, that does care about this issue in a sincere sort of way.
Yeah.
Are you? I'm getting a little tired of this very important conflict sort of just playing out in the form of like influencer drama. Don't you feel like that kind of is sort of cheapening the whole thing a
Yeah,
little bit?
you might say a bunch of narcissistic billion narcissistic
Yeah.
millionaire influencers who are just so socially inept and devoid of meaning in their sad lives. Probably because they don't have families and they don't seem to put much stock in that to begin with. Then they just play their drama out, and then it's from the lens of, well, it's, in the background, it's a battle of Israel versus Palestine and, this serious moral conflict, which it is. But we're going to take advantage of that. And it's like, I don't know. I've tried to think, like, does this, if you're the average American, right, and you are trying to form an opinion on the Israel Palestine conflict, what is this type of stuff? Which direction is it more likely to sway you in? It's probably in the direction of anyone who talks about this is just a dweeb, and I don't want anything to do with it. And it's just, once again, a source of drama.
Yeah. I
Um,
get that impression, like when I talk to, perhaps you do as well, like when I sort of talk to my less sort of politically plugged in friends, I think they sort of perceive the conflict in the Middle East as just like this kind of like, I don't know, it's like it's complicated, it's very like, esoteric, like it's something that matters a lot to a certain kind of person, and I'm not that kind of person, so I'm just going to kind of like tune out, right? Like that there's a certain stridency to it that I think sort of personifies a lot of what people associate with like the unpleasant side of politics, particularly if you're a low information sort of type of person. So I think that like that's it. Like I get the impression like people like they know it's like controversial. They know a lot of people have very strong opinions on it, but their own desire to kind of like avoid being judged and avoid having, quote unquote, the wrong opinions, which clearly bring hell's holy fire upon you, makes them just kind of like want to withdraw. And so I think that in some ways you could say the net effect is probably like more ignorance.
True, but then there's also the element of, let's look up how many views it has right now, because
Yeah.
Content Cop is a very, I don't think I ever saw a single episode prior to that, and I wasn't going to watch this one if I hadn't seen like 150 videos about it, and I was like, all right, well, it's related to Israel Palestine, so let's just check it out.
Yes.
7 million views in 2 weeks.
7 million. And then
So it's
how much does the original H3 one have?
3.4 million.
Wow. So IDubbz has more than Ethan's.
Well, but this is the point of, like, it's. I mean, I don't know. Most of this also. I hesitate to use the word normie. I don't know how much of a normie you are if you're watching Content Cop, but let's say you're normie by internet standards. Fine. Most people watching those videos are not um, super political. They're more interested in the personalities and the entertainment value. I think
Yeah.
this is something Brogan has talked about. It's like there's no more the death of the nice guy empire. I think it was the
Yeah.
death of,
Yeah.
like, well, I'm just going to not talk about politics. It's like, once you have a certain platform, and given the fact that politics and technology has intersected so much, there's really no way around it. But cer- certainly the way that narcissists making it their personal drama. Also, dude, the fucking end. You didn't see the Content
No,
Cop?
I didn't.
A lesson in just sick, toxic bitch behavior. At the very end, um, IDubbz and his crew of misfits um, says, like, all right, now I'm going to say a few nice things about Ethan. It's like, Ethan, I really like how when you're that you're just you on the internet, and I really like when you're excited about things that aren't political. And it's all this backhanded, like, weird shit, and I'm just like, oh my god. And yeah, I mean, I do. Look, I think so much of our political discourse is weighed down by the personal failings of the people who participate in that discourse.
Hmm.
And it's a very Jordan Peterson-esque point to, get your own house in order before you start talking about the world. trying to solve other people's problems and stuff. And I sympathize with that, and I fail to some degree, I'm sure. Hopefully not as much as Hassan and IDubbz and Ethan for that matter, but I don't know. You see, you're far too much of a straight shooter. Well, gay shooter technically, but far too much of a straight edge to be associated with these type of people, right? I mean, you never really got swept up in that storm, right?
Although as you brought